Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining in. This side, Rahul Magan here from Treasury Consulting LLP. And today we are going to cover a very interesting topic, which is value at risk. As you very well understand that the banking sector is getting highly complicated, and especially when it comes to the derivative instrument which these foreign exchange banks are maintaining. But unfortunately, we always tend to believe that derivatives is all about these so-called foreign exchange instruments which these banks are maintaining, nothing else. But we never ever think that banking sector is much more greater than that. So India is not on Basel 3 as of now, and I think probably by 2019 India will come to Basel 3. But the screenshot which you see on your website, this is a screenshot which we have taken from Goldman Sachs regulatory filing, which is Pillar 3 disclosures as per Basel 3 norms. In this, you are getting a sense that what is known as the regulatory VAR. VAR stands for value at risk. Early A should be capital, but that is their way of writing. So VAR is the potential loss in the value of an inventory position as well as a certain other financial assets and financial liabilities due to the adverse market movements over a defined period of horizon with a specific confidence level. The VAR model captures risk including interest rate, equity prices, currency rates, and commodity prices. As such, VAR facilitate comparison across portfolio of the different risk characters. VAR also captures the diversification of the aggregated risk at the firm level. VAR is very important. VAR stands for value at risk, and over the period VAR plays a very important role in the foreign exchange market, especially for banks. In India, there is one term which is known as, if you go in the banking sector, then when I give you a small example. Now, assume there is a bank called JP Morgan, and this bank today sold $1.5 billion and bought $1 billion. So net exposure is $0.5 billion, which they should hedge in the market, which is the interbank market, because 1.5 billion they sold, 1 billion they bought. So next 500 million they are supposed to do in the interbank market, assuming there are other counterparties, which is JP Morgan Singapore, JP Morgan London, and XYZ. They don't have any other further exposure in that regards. Majority of us tend to believe that as far as the RBI guidelines is concerned, we have one thing which banks need to report, which is known as NOP, net overnight position. In case of JP Morgan, this would be NOOP, net overnight open position, because JP Morgan is an international bank. Now, did we ever thought that why bank is taking a chances? We are saying that at the end of the day, the bank is having $500 million of the sales exposure open, which ideally they should have hedged in the market. I would absolutely agree with the thought. They should have hedged this in the market. But did we ever thought that why bank is doing so? This all based upon VAR. Before opening this exposure, a bank internal financial model will calculate the VAR, and JP Morgan will calculate that. See, I kept a selling position of 500 million open when INR closes at 68.74, and there is a big probability that because of the federal fund rate hike, and RBI has increased the CRR rate and so on and so forth, that banks would be able to, that the INR rate would move up, and or it might get down also. So there is a certain prediction in that regards, and based upon that prediction, they will get to know about an amount. The maximum M2M stands for mark to market. The maximum M2M they can have in their books. Because of this, they can have losses. Now this M2M is mark to market. What we are talking, this M2M is nothing but the VAR. But unfortunately, VAR is far higher than this M2M. In case of NOP, which is net overnight position, and NOOP, net overnight open position, we tend to assume that banks are calculating the M2M, but ideally banks should have calculated the VAR also. It might the case they might calculating the VAR also. So VAR can be used anywhere. It can be used interest rate derivatives, it can be used your equity derivatives, it can be used your commodity derivatives, It can be used anywhere. But one thing which we seriously need to understand about the VAR is which we seriously need to understand about VAR, that VAR is divided into two parts. One is known as regulatory VAR, and one is known as stressed VAR. Now, regulatory VAR is something which you need to calculate for the regulators, and that is linked with the capital of your capital of the bank. Everything is interconnected with each other. There is nothing which is not connected with each other. Now, if you carefully see, you would get to know that there is one thing which we have, which is known as I just forgot the name of that. Yes, which is FVA, funding valuation adjustment. And in funding valuation adjustment, we will see that how a bank, before taking a position, a bank will check that how much funding should be available for that, and at what rate I am taking the funding, and whether I would be able to get that benefit out of it, or because I need to spare some capital out of that, and so on and so forth. So henceforth, everything is interconnected to each other. But unfortunately, in regulatory perspective, still VAR is not getting used in the majority places, especially in India. We still believe in the M2M is the only thing which is mark to market. No, it is not. It is VAR is a much advanced method. Now, before moving forward, I would like to tell you the upcoming thing is how the VAR can be used on the capital. Now, let me read for you. For both risk management purposes and regulatory capital calculations, we used a single VAR model. Single VAR model means there is only one input parameter, that is capital. However, VAR used for regulatory capital requirement, which is known as regulatory VAR, differs from the risk management VAR. Of course, risk management VAR, which we talked about, you have kept $500 million of the sale position open. It could be the side. You have kept $500 million of the buy position open. It could be in the interest rate system, which is credit default swap, and so on and so forth. Now, in this, however, VAR used for regulatory capital differs from the risk management VAR due to different time horizon and the confidence level. Now, the time horizon generally we are taking is a 10-day and 99% for regulatory VAR, versus we take 1 day and 95% confidence level for the risk management VAR. Because regulatory VAR we are taking the average of 10 days, and here we are taking for risk management we are taking daily, and that too at 95%. Please note carefully, government science has not mentioned this. This 95% doesn't mean this will apply universally to all foreign exchange instruments like your so-called forward contracts, option contracts, derivative contracts, interest rate swaps, and so on and so forth. So for some you might have 98.5, some have 99, some have 99.5. Of course, you cannot have 100. As simple as that. Now moving forward. Now moving forward. We are here now. 99%. In addition to the daily net trading revenue used to determine risk management VAR exception compared to the compared to the daily trading net revenue to the VAR, intraday activity where the Federal Reserve regulatory capital require intraday to be exceeded, and so on and so forth. So this VAR is a very good thing, and as per the Basel III compliance, people need to calculate both regulatory VAR as well as the stressed VAR. But unfortunately, India don't have Basel III, so the probability of regulatory VAR is not there. I'm guiding again. Moving again. In accordance with the market risk regulatory capital requirement, we evaluate the accuracy of the VAR model through daily backtesting. You know the meaning of stress testing and backtesting. If not, then let me answer you. Stress testing is when you not worry about the output, rather you move your input variables in such a way that you really wanted to understand what would happen if the input variable moves. And backtesting is different. Backtesting it when you already defined it that the output would be like this, and henceforth you will move your input variable in such a way that output should be like this. Did we ever thought that why VAR, which is value at risk, but accept stressed VAR? Note very carefully, because I might not differ that if somebody would argue that stressed VAR can also have a backtesting, I might not argue in that. Value at risk should be back testing. It should not be stress testing. Because if it is going to be stress testing, I'm not saying that the model cannot be stress test. The model can be stress test. There is no problem in this. But what I'm saying that the net result should not be stress test. Because if the net result is going to be stress test, then what would happen? It would be an open-end scenario that you don't know where you will end up. But if it is going to be back test, then you know that bank has already decided that the maximum value at risk or the maximum movement, because value at risk is always in the dollar terms, it is always in the absolute amount, it is never be in the relative amount. The absolute value at risk should be say $5 million per day. So you know that maximum is $5 million. So you will move your input variable in such a way that you know that the net result is $5 million, it is not greater than $5 million. So this is what value and risk is all about. Once India in 2019 would have a Basel III framework, then India would surely have stressed VAR and regulatory well. I'm not saying that the pillar one and pillar two are not very commendable job, but I always, as a ex-corporate registrar and a CEO of my own company who is dealing with the financial consulting, I always believe that a pillar three is very important. Pillar 3 deal with risk-weighted asset, it deal with VAR, it deal with regulatory VAR, it deal with market risk, interest rate risk, price risk, foreign exchange risk, commodity risk, everything. All the major risk a bank is facing, it has been dealt by Pillar 3. So I'm saying Pillar 3 is very, very important in that regards, and I hope by the time Basel 3 would come in India, we would have these kind of stuff you would be able to see in the banking system of India once they're going to show their numbers, of course annual number, not the quarterly number. It depends, they can show on the quarterly also. With this, I would like to thank you very much, and here comes the 243rd video of Treasury Consulting LLP. We are also very pleased to share that we have our online academy now, and in our online academy we are offering a lot of courses, so you are always welcome to have any of our course. We have more than 16 courses now, which is foreign exchange risk management, treasury risk management, banking and compliance, Basel 3, IFRS. You are welcome to have any our course, and we happy to serve you. My contact details is known to everyone, but still 9899242978. This is an Indian handheld number, Indian mobile number. And my email ID is rahul.magan@treasuryconsulting.in. We thank you very much, and have a great day.